everybody. Welcome back to the second episode of my podcast called The Troof. And today I got a very special guest. He goes by the name of Bboy Crumbles. He's a mentor, known for like 10 plus years now. And everybody give a round of applause for him. Crumbles.
What's up, everybody?
Got the sound effect.
You got sound effects. Nice.
Alright, man. How you doing? How's your Friday so far?
It's been pretty good so far. Like it's actually the weekend before my birthday, so I'm actually gonna be doing some stuff this weekend since my birthday falls on a Monday. So I'm gonna be going out, like probably like eating, hanging out with people, and then hit out the bars or something like that, just to hang out and stuff. So
You getting that 32 rounds?
yeah.
Alright, well, happy early birthday. I'm gonna start to see if I could stop by, because, we got that gym in Madison that we got hit up tomorrow. So,
You're going to be judging, right? At like a 7 to Smoke or something, right?
Yeah, with Turbo and Chovy, so it'll be pretty fun. So, well, let's get to the basics. Talk about your hometown, your childhood growing up, and everything. Are you born and raised in Milwaukee?
Yeah, born and raised in Milwaukee. I guess since 1986, that's when I was born. So I'm gonna be 32 this year. So I guess like I've been living here all my life, pretty much in the South Side, primarily. So pretty much grew up in like maybe like 3 houses or something like that. But I've been pretty much staying at the same house that I've been at for a while now. So yep.
So it's like, did your parents? Are you like born in the United States or born?
Yeah, I was born in the United States. My parents actually just came here during the war. They escaped actually during the war. Like my dad went one route. He went the escaping route, like the refugee route, where he had to, because they were actually going to be drafting him into like the army, and then they didn't, like his dad didn't want him to do that, so he tried to help him escape, and actually had to do time while doing that, because of that, but then he told us this crazy story about how they had to leave. They had to escape like at night with like their friends and brothers and stuff like that, and they had to do that, like everything that like your parents probably have talked about with those type of experiences are like, they all have their own type of thing. Like I remember he was telling me about a story about how they had to hide under like a ship, and then if they got caught, they would have all died, and then like while they were escaping, I guess one of their brothers got shot while being on that, so it's crazy.
By own Vietnamese people?
Like the people that were trying to apprehend them, because they were trying to escape from being part of that war, and it's just crazy stuff that happened. Like my mom's side, her dad was actually helping the U.S. Army with like interpreting like messages and stuff like that like the northern Vietnamese people were sending out to people. So he was like during when like the war ended and like the U.S. left, he had no choice but to leave. So he got on, like, from what I heard, he got on like one of the last flights with like the U.S. leaving, and he was able to bring like the whole family with him, and then that's how my parents got out. That's how my mom's side got out, and then they stayed at like a concentration, or like one of those, I don't think it's not a concentration camp, but like
refugee camp.
Refugee camp, where like they have to wait until they get sponsored by like something.
Yeah. And
then they got sponsored by like a Lutheran church in Dowsman, Wisconsin, which is about 45 minutes away or so. And then that's how they ended up in like Milwaukee area, so it's kind of cool.
So your parents, like, they met and they got married here?
Yeah, they actually met and got married here. I think from what I heard, the story was that my mom was already like working for like the medical clinics and stuff like that, and she was trying to help the incoming Vietnamese people like make sure that they get their shots and like take these pills and stuff like that, because they're not used to like how the U.S. thing is, and I think they're like required to take this stuff, before they come into the U.S. And then I guess my mom was trying to get like my dad to like take these like this medicine or something like that, and he was always like, no, I'm not gonna do that, and then he was kind of like the rebel, he was like a soccer player, he was like in a rock band, he was like he was cool, he had like a Firebird and stuff like that. He was a really cool guy, I guess, if you ever see his pictures and stuff. Great guy, obviously, I learned a lot from him. But yeah, like he ended up like pretty much just I guess he like asked her out on a date, and then the rest of the rest was history. It was pretty cool. I think she like ended up moving to the same apartment that they lived in, and then they ended up talking more, and they ended up getting together, and that's it, So
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so talk about your childhood growing up. Like, what was it like? Was your parents strict, like the typical Asian parents?
I would say in the beginning they were very strict, you know, and then like once like we started becoming more into like the American lifestyle, I felt like it started to ease up a little bit more, you know, like I still got my ass whooped and everything like that, you know, but you know, obviously after like a while, like those type of like teaching methods aren't like used as much as more anymore as how it used to be, you know. And yeah, like I don't know, I grew up going to like private schools. Actually, my parents wanted me to have a good education, and you know, since they're all Catholic, they want me to go the Catholic route. You know, so like like in the beginning, I just went to all private schools. I went to this place called like St. Lawrence, which actually it was actually owned by like the Hmong Alliance Church or something. After a while or something like that, after they bought it out. Then I had to go to like a different school in St. Matthews, but it actually got too, the area started to get kind of bad there because they would have all these, at that time, like there was like a lot of tension between like Vietnamese people and like Laos people, or like Vietnamese people and like this side. They would end up getting into these like little gang fights at our school, at our like schoolyard. And then I would remember like seeing them, like I would know some of these guys and I'll be like, hey, what's up? And then,
that was like the mid-90s?
Yeah, it would be like mid-90s.
That's when gang was still like kind of big, like gang culture.
Like the whole, and then like they were, you know, like all they had was like themselves, you know, like all together. So obviously like they want to they're sticking together for the group, you know, and then they got into fights, you know, and then my parents saw that and they didn't want me to be a part of that type of thing, so they moved me to a different place. And then after that I went to a different high school from where I thought my friends were going to be going to, you know, and yeah, I went to like UWM. That was actually my first non-private place that I went to go study, you know.
Oh, you went to private school most of your life?
Yeah, I went to college. I went through, I guess you could say elementary, you know, middle school and high school, just all Catholic private.
So you had to wear those clothes, like those uniforms?
When I up until 8th grade, I had to wear uniforms. Which
high school was more lenient? Yeah,
high school, like we got to wear whatever, so that was kind of cool. Okay. But yeah, like it wasn't bad. It wasn't as bad as people think. You know, it's cool. It's fine. You know, it's comfortable. Or at least I remember it was comfortable.
You survived, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you were actually into Taekwondo, was it? Or?
I did Kung Fu.
Kung Fu. Okay, you want to talk about that?
Actually, I started that. You maybe want to stop and record again or something.
We still got like 4 minutes if you want to talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I actually used to do Kung Fu and everything like that. I started around 1999 doing that, which is kind of funny because I actually started breaking around like 98, 99. Or like that was my first time I actually tried getting into breaking, was around that era. But I got into Kung Fu because there just happened to be Kung Fu school that opened up that was like 3 minutes away from my house. So when I saw that, I was like, yo, I gotta go to this. You know, I was a huge fan of like Kung Fu movies and like being a ninja and stuff like that. You know, typical Asian like growing up stuff. And you know, I just wanted to, I guess like move on from that. You know, and I wanted to actually learn the art form of like Kung Fu. You know, and I ended up being a natural for it. I actually picked it up pretty easily. I became one of like their best students. I did it for about close to 12 years or so. I got up to like a 2nd degree black belt, which is pretty hard to do in itself because just to get a black belt took about like a regular person to get a black belt took about 5 years to get to that level because they don't want to just get anybody. Like you could go to like, let's say like a typical Taekwondo school or something like that, and they could be like, hey, we could give you a black belt. You know, you just got to give us like $300-400. You know, to take each test we take, and then you'll make it out. You know, like for us, it was like, yo, you got to earn your rank. Like when I first started, I had no belt. I started with a no belt there, and they actually made me earn my white belt. You know, or like our sashes. Like that's what we had. We had sashes, and yeah, like I had to wear that stuff. You know, so like even me getting a white sash like meant a lot to me, you know. And on top of that, it was affordable, you know. We went to other places, you know, like we went to A, B, and C, and then like one place was charging like $80, another person's charging like 120. This place at that time was charging $45 a month, and I could come $45, and then I could come in there like at least 4 or 5 times a week if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Just to train, you know, and that's how like convenient it was, and how, you know, it was just the best of both worlds, you know. So yeah, I got to train. I was really good with like forms and weapons. That was kind of like my expertise. So I always did like tournaments, and I would always end up winning a lot of them. And yeah, like I was, I guess you could say like it kind of helped me out in terms of breaking, because it actually helped me learn how to, I guess, present myself the right way when I come into the circle, or like whenever I hit up like a battle or something like that. The way of how I present myself is like done in like a way where I used to kind of do for Kung Fu, you know? So it has that intensity, it has like the technique, you know, the swiftness, you know, and it also has like its influences, you know, and my own character and personality, so.
Wait, do you still do Kung Fu, like right now?
No, I haven't done like Kung Fu in general in a while, but as tribute to like showing like what I've like learned from it, I apply like Kung Fu like techniques and moves in my breaking style, you know. So like if anybody's seen me dance or like do like some techniques, like you'll probably notice that there's something of like a Kung Fu element in there, you know, whether it's like the way of like how I'm supposed to move, like flow, like water, you know, like those type of things that come when you learn Kung Fu, you know, and compared to just like, I don't know, just executing moves and stuff the right way, you know. It all kind of ties in together. Even like what I wear, you know, like I used to wear like a Kung Fu uniform sometimes when I used to go battle, or like usually I would wear on like my Kung Fu sash still, my black sash that I earned from Kung Fu, you know, and just to show my like pay like homage to what I've accomplished and stuff like that. So. Oh,
okay. All right. Well, speaking of breaking, let's talk about hip hop. So how did you get into like breaking and hip hop? Like, was it like the music first, or was it the dancing first that draw you into it?
Well, I guess you could say like in the South Side, I wasn't really shown much of like hip hop. It was like more of like the gangster rap type of style, you know. So like when I first started trying to learn how to break, I didn't know what breaks were, you know. So I used to like dance to like Big Timers and like Dr. Dre and like
those West Coast music,
and like stuff like that my friends were listening to, like Master P and like Juvenile and stuff like that, like, because that's what they knew and that's what I knew, you know. So like we would just dance to what we liked to listen to, you know. But my first like interaction with breaking actually came at like a school dance around like 6th grade or so. I remember, I think like Vanilla Ice's like
the Ice
Vanilla
Baby?
Yeah, the Ice Baby turned on, and then like, you know, like the typical like supersonic, you know, supersonic forward, that type of stuff, like the freestyle music or something turned on, and then all of a sudden there was like this circle, you know. So I was interested. I was like, what's happening in the circle, you know? Then I see all my friends, like, actually there were like a bunch of my Hmong friends. They were actually just breaking in the circle, and they were doing all these crazy moves, you know. Like at the time, you know, like they were doing like turtles and like scrambles and like footwork and like window. Like it was really crazy to see, and and everybody's cheering for them. Everybody's going crazy, and I was just like, I was blown away from it. I was just like, wow. I was like, dang, this is crazy. You know, I wanted to learn so bad. Like I remember, I was just like, dang, that looks so dope. You know, I came up to them, I was talking to them about it. I was like, dude, I want to try learning how to do this. You know, and I remember like a lot of the times they would be like, no man, you can't do it, man. You're too big for it. You know, like you can't do it. And I remember it feels like a movie when like just a kid thinking that this is like a movie. But I remember like that night, I like told myself that like I'm gonna prove them wrong. So it almost like was like an oath, like to kind of that like I'm gonna prove that I could do this. Like like this isn't just meant for them. Like I could pull it off, you know. And that's how I started, you know.
So you taught yourself?
Well, like in the beginning, I think like my sister's boyfriend at the time, I think he was like reluctantly had to like help show me some moves. So, but he didn't really show me the moves. I was just kind of learning, you know, just seeing him do it, because I couldn't do a windmill. Like I can't stab and do all that stuff, you know. But he was just showing me. He was like doing it, and I tried to mimic him, you know. And from besides that, all I had, like I didn't really have like anyone to like teach me or anything, but I did have like a couple VHS tapes that I used to that actually dubbed. I had to dub it like V8, like from 2 VCRs. And I would record one over the, you know, just to watch it again and over again. And then that was like, and then seeing some of this video footage of like what I had from before, now that now since I like know who these people are, like it's crazy to be like, dude, like you could basically like I could for real say like, yo, I grew up watching you, you know?
Yeah.
Like like Easy Rock, like I remember I went up to him one day when I saw him at Silverback, and I was like, yo, man, like I don't know if you know this or not, but you know, you were like one of my first like idols I used to listen, like watch, you know, and you inspired me to break, you know, and you know, it's crazy just to even meet those type of people that will like that influence you so much, you know, and just to see what they would say, you know, it's kind of interesting, you know, it's cool.
Yeah.
So, I guess like from besides that, like there was like a Milwaukee breaking scene from what I heard, you know, because like there was like some people that knew my sister and they were telling me about it, about like trying to go over there, but then I was never able to get a ride down there, which was like the Christian Center. I think it was called the Christian Center. And like the UCC area, it's like the spot where like all the Milwaukee breakers used to go like all the time.
Oh yeah.
And I wish I was able to be a part of that, but I didn't join that scene, like the actual scene, until like I hit like college.
But by the time the B-Boy, they were already much older than you, right?
Yeah, so like at that time, like when I first heard about them, that's when they were coming up. Like that's when they were like year like 2 or 3 into breaking probably.
Oh, okay,
you know?
Yeah.
So like by the time I've met them, they're already like becoming like established names, you know? And at that time there was like, when I first started, there was groups like Motion Disorders, and then there was M63 Funk Crushers, there was, what else was there? There was like a couple other groups like that were still around from like the old time groups, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like NAD, like the New Age Dancers. Actually when I took capoeira in college, my teacher actually was in a group.
What the heck?
Yeah, and he used to do like shows, I guess, for like the Milwaukee Wave. I think they were called like the Blackhawks or something like that. But it was crazy. Like it was crazy listening to all this stuff, you know. And there was like a bunch of like Asian crews around too. So that's the guys I used to look up to. Like there was a group called like Puppet Masters. Yeah. They were like pretty like well known around here. There was this guy named like Little Two, who was like pretty like he was probably like the dopest in their group. I met this other guy named like P2, like they, I don't know, like that was like my goal to try to join like Puppet Masters or something, or like there was a group called like PBC or something. They were called like Pretty Boy Crew, and I guess they used to always break in like white or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Like it's crazy, like it's cool, you know. It's like the Asian breaker crews, you know, and that's the groups that you get inspired from, you know. And yeah, I don't know, it was cool. Like I heard that Christian Center and stuff used to be like really rough when they used to go practice. Like, it was very crowded, and like there was just tons of breakers there, and they used to just like call each other out, and it would be like huge deals, and they would battle each other because they, you know, they took their aggression out. You know, it's like the like typical like thing like why you do breaking. You know, it's kind of to concentrate all that stress and like things into like this dance and then let it out. You know, and it was cool. You know, like I wish I was in that scene, because then I would probably like learn a lot more from doing that, and I'd probably earn a lot more from that. You know, but when I came in, like Motion D and everything were already really established. Like I said, when I hit college, there was a guy who used to break, and then I actually met my other mentor, my actual mentor there. His name was Josinho, or that was like his capoeira name, but he went by like King Fresh and stuff like that. And he, you know, I just saw him over here. You know, this like Korean dude, he's just doing like inverts and like pipes and everything, and I was just like, dang, that's dope. I remember I went up to him and I was like, hey, what's up, man? Like, hey, you break dance? And then the guy, I remember he told me, he's like, I B-Boy, you know? And then that's when I first heard that's when I heard B-Boy, and I was like, dang. I was like, that makes a lot of sense, because from what I thought at the time, a breakdancing was what the dance was called, and then B-Boy, I thought B-Boys was like the title that you get. Yeah. So there's breakdancing and B-Boy. But no, it's like B-Boying or breaking, you know? Yeah. And he didn't really teach me like tons of moves, but he was the one that really integrated me into the whole hip hop culture, and he actually taught me a lot about it, because he was connected towards like DJs in Madison. Okay. He was a graffiti, like he was a graph writer, you know, so he was trying to like show me like how to do it, you know, and he would always call me like a toy for like not being able to do like graffiti right and everything like that. But it was cool, you know, like I needed that type of person that could help me out, because I remember at that time like everybody would be like, dang, you're doing so good, you know, and I would look at the footage, I would be like, dude, this looks horrible, you know? Yeah. And what I appreciated from him was he was always hard on me. So like when I was first starting to break, and I would try to come up with these combos, and I would show him, I'd be like, yo, what do you think about this? He would give me like the honest truth, and he'd be like, dude, that shit was whack. He's like, dude, don't do that anymore. Or like if it was good, like that's when I knew I did something right, you know?
Okay.
But it made me, like, that negative reinforcement like helped me become better because it pushed me harder to do better.
Yeah.
So when I finally started to improve, I could tell that he was approving me better, more.
Yeah.
So in getting so, it's like I earned that from him, you know? And I thought that was really cool, you know, so, and, yeah.
Well, speaking of the Milwaukee Bboy Scene, you're part of the Gravity Benders crew. You want to tell me a little bit more about you guys' history?
So, like, like I said, I went to the LCC, which is called the Latino Community Center at the time. It was, like, on 14th and National, and my mentor took me there, and he was like, yo, here are these guys, you know, try to practice, get down with them, you know? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, you know, I'll go down, I'll practice. So I started practicing around these guys, and then there was, it was a community center, so they had like this team night thing, like every Mondays and Wednesday from like 7 to 9 or 10, and depending on how long the breakers stayed, they had like this little stage on there, like this like little stage that went up, and then that's where the breakers braked.
Yeah.
So you, like, that's where all the main guys break. So you had like Alex, Mijo, like all the original Motion D members used to practice there, and M63 guys would be up on that stage, getting down, you know. And I would always be like so intimidated to get down over there. Yeah, I eventually went in, but when I first started, I was like, dang, I can't go in. Like these guys are way too good for me, you know. It was like, you know, like it's like seeing like the All Stars from Milwaukee, you know, and then knowing how much like history and like stuff that they put into the scene, like made me like respect them a lot more because of that, you know. And then like there was like all these like extra guys around, and basically all these like solo b-boys all wanted to join like Motion D. Like I remember when I first saw it, I was like, dude, I want to get down with Motion D or something. Yeah. You know, like this was my goal, you know, like because I thought if I wanted to get somewhere, you know, and and I had the right people to learn under, you know, like this was the group to learn with, you know. Yeah. So at that time though, you know, like there was only like M63 wasn't battling as much anymore. Motion D was like all the like the main members were sticking around, but then there was like some that had like other life issues and stuff on them, you know, but they were still like a force to be reckoned with, you know. And I remember like when we were like talking to somebody, I think we were talking to Alex. Alex was like, dude, why don't you guys just like make your own crew, you know? Yeah. And he was like why why try to join like one group when we could make the scene better? Like basically like saying that the scene could be better with more crews there, you know. And when I heard that, I was like, dang, like he's right. Like why should I be trying to it's like why should I be trying to do this thing, you know, when I could why should I be trying to follow their legacy, or like when I could build my own, you know? Yeah. So basically what I did was I went up to these like two b-boys, these two Russian guys, these two Russian kids by the name of Yosha and Duka, and at that time they actually didn't speak that much English at the time, you know. Like they knew English, but then like they weren't like they spoke more in like Russian all the time. Yeah. And I remember like when they first came in, we were like, who the heck are these guys? You know, they came in and like they had like freaking like Yosha had like this like neon like orange and like blue like almost like hammer like MC Hammer pants, like these like huge pants. Yeah. Like, and then he was just dressing like you. We were like, "Who the heck is this?" Was this
like in the early 2000s?
This was like 2005, 2006.
Oh, so it was like 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. So like this year would be like the start of like our like 12th year or something as a crew, like around that time, you know. Yeah. But like we were just like yeah, and they would just like changing in front of us. We're like, dude, you could like change in the bathroom or something, you know, because it was like a team night, you know, and they're just changing like it's like a locker room. And it was just really funny seeing that, you know, but. When we saw them get down, like they were doing some dope stuff, you know. Yeah. Although they were like biting and stuff. Yeah. It was like pretty crazy to see. Like Yosha was like ridiculously strong at that time, and you know the youthful Yosha used to have like so much strength. He was basically like his influences you could tell were like people like physics and like darkness and like Junior, you know. Yep. So like when you see his old breaking style when he first started. You could see those influences in his breaking, you know, and Duca was like doing like head spins with like a helmet that said Duca and everything. It was so funny, like. But I remember I told myself, I said, yo, if I want, because I tried to actually make like 2 separate groups before this, and it like never worked out. Like I made a group called, like I was a part of like this group called like EDK, like during the Asian Pride days, they were called like the Eternal Dragons Crew, you know, like that's what we called it. It was really cheesy, but that's just like we thought it was so cool, you know, at the time when we were younger. Like, and then there was a group called like TRC that I tried to make. It was for train wreck casualties. Oh,
that's
you know? I thought that was a dope thing.
A little bit better.
And I if you know me, I'm very particular about what kind of crews I get down with, because, you know, I want it to have like a good sounding name. Like I don't want like some group like PXC or something like that. Like it doesn't make sense, you know, like. But like TRC or something, or like if you hear names like GBC or like BMF, like they all
rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, rolls off the tongue, you know, and that's the coolest part about it, you know, like I can't be repping a group that sounds like whack or something like that, you know, and you know I wanted to just like learn. I learned from my mistakes with joining those groups, you know, because they didn't really know as much as I like. They were just all like clueless as me, you know. So I knew that if I wanted to make a new crew, I had to get these 2 Russian guys in. Yeah. You know, so at the end of practice, I went up to these guys and I tried to talk to them, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, guys? I'm so and so. Like, I don't even know if I had a B-boy name at that time."
So you said your real name.
Maybe I just said my real name, or like I just got Crumbles. You know, like maybe I just earned Crumbles, but like I talked to them. I was like, "Yo, like you guys interested in like wanting to like make a crew? You know, like I think we could do a lot like together, like if we work together and like get all these like solo B-boys together." Yeah. And I remember they like looked at each other like and talked to each other in Russian, like like they were basically like, "Who the heck is this guy?" You know, But for some reason they said yes, you know, and that was the cool. And I was like, "All right, cool, let's do it," you know. And after that, we started talking to the other people that like we used to practice with, you know, that weren't like in crews, you know. Like we went up to this dude. Like I knew these 2 Asian guys. There was this Korean dude named Jason. Yeah. He was called and then there was this other guy named Paul. He was called Raw Paul, and then Yosha actually got Scribble, and he talked to him. Like I remember when I met Scribble, it was crazy because like when he brought me in and he was doing like this whole like he was dope. Like he came in out of nowhere, but from what I heard, he just came back recently into breaking. Because like he had like kids and everything like that, and you know like he was like in like the gang lifestyle at that time, you know. But then he like stopped doing that, you know. He was actually in that group. You remember that one time I entered as like Retaliating Styles with him?
Oh yeah.
It's because that was his actual old crew name. They used to go under the name RS, you know. And then and I thought that was a dope name. Like I was like, dude, like I wouldn't mind joining like a group like that, you know. Like that's what I appreciate about like crew names like that. It's like when they have names like that. Like I don't know, it just has like that early 2000 feel, you know, like like when you hear it, you know, like Havoc Choral or something like that, or like Retaliating Style, you know, like the whole like choral thing with like Knights of Rhythm Odyssey, or you know, like it's just crazy like hearing names like that. Like it made me want to have like a name like that. Like I wish I had a name like that, you know. Yeah. But like we ended up getting all these guys into our crew, and then we were trying to think of like a name. You know, it was really funny because Yosha and them gave like the worst names ever. Like they wanted to be called like Floor Clowns and like. Oh hell no! I was like, dude, I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna join a crew that's called Floor Clowns, you know? Yeah. And then like I wanted to be called like what I wanted to be called, like I wanted to be called like 5 Foot Assassins or like you know like from the tribe like or like the Tribe Called Quest song. Yeah. You know, like the 5 Foot Assassins. Oh yeah. Like that's why I thought it sounded cool, you know. Or I wanted to be called like the Foot Clan, or like I actually like the name Floor Play. I wanted to be called Floor Play when I first started. But then like some other names that got thrown around were like Damaged Goods, Natural Disaster.
That's a cool name.
Yeah, Natural I thought that was cool too. Like I don't know, there was just some really cool names when I first started. Like I remember the first time I braked in Chicago, there was just a random circle out on the street, and then I just happened to walk by it, and it was with a group called like Urban Disturbance. That's what they were called. Okay. Yeah, and I thought that sounded super cool. That's very nice. But then like they were all like in different groups also. Like I met this like over at that time I met Heaven, and he was in Chicago Tribe at that time, but he's like Phase 2 now. There was another dude named Gino that I met that day. And like I just met like all these like guys at that time, and I didn't realize that like I would become friends with these guys in the future, you know.
Yeah.
But then Scribble one day, like when we were talking about it, he was like, "Hey, what about Gravity Benders?" You know. And when I heard the name, it was just like ding. It was like, dang, that sounds good.
Oh, okay.
Because I wanted a name that sounded professional, but still like got the point across about like what we do, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought with breaking, you're basically like bending gravity like all the time. Like you're defying the laws of gravity, you know. Like you're supposed to fall down, but nope, you caught yourself in a different position. You're pushing yourself back up. You know?
Gravity,
so so that's what I thought would sound good, and especially like I couldn't have like a name like
floor clowns.
like floor clowns and like advertise us like professionally as a group, you know. So when we heard Gravity Benders, we all like agreed to become Gravity Benders, you know. So then we became official in like 2006. So then we've been breaking ever since, I guess. So.
Well, how long did it take you guys to like finally say that, all right, we made it as a crew? Like, because I know in the beginning it wasn't easy. Maybe like the first 2-3 years.
Yeah, like first couple years. Like I just remember that like because like I said, I was like in a couple other different crews, you know, and they didn't really do anything past just being in like a crew of friends, you know. And with this group, they were willing to like we were talking about like traveling, going to these battles.
Yeah.
So I remember when I went to like the first couple battles like by myself or like with just like a couple friends. Like I went to like the third Breaking the Law ever, like like a long time ago, like with just like some of my friends, you know, and like I just remember like saying like, yo, we gotta go hard, you know, like we gotta rep Milwaukee, you know, like at that time there was still like a little bit of like that whole like Milwaukee Chicago type of thing.
Yeah, the rivalry.
So like we wanted to kind of like keep it up, like keep on par with that, you know. So we would always travel to Chicago and like Rockford, Minnesota, Iowa, Michigan, like all these places in the Midwest, and we would always just rep our crew, you know. And we had like a couple like, I guess you could say like we had a couple good breaks when we first started, where we started building like momentum on us.
Yeah.
And like I remember like our first Iowa battle, we had to go against like some of the older members from like Self X. And we were like, dude, we're going to lose against these guys. But we ended up like beating them because they were taking it, they underestimated us at the time. And they were like taking it easy when we were trying to go all out. Yeah. And I think the judges saw that and they gave it to us.
Okay.
You know?
So
that was like kind of like one of our like yo, like in our minds we're like dude, if we could, you know, if we could put up a good fight against them, then like we don't have to win, we just have to make our like make our name be known, you know? So like it took us, I would say like probably probably in the 3-4 year mark where you kind of like start building up that name, you know. And then I don't know, like it's always been like usually like when they see like Gravity Benders, they always like think of like maybe like me and like the brothers, you know. But there's like so much more that our crew could like offer, you know. And then now that like it's like we're like on like our 12th year of like being a crew, we kind of, you know, we see that like, you know, like now all the members have been there, and then like the ones that are around are still trying to do stuff, you know. But we also have to take care of other life things, you know. Like I can't be like full-time breaking like for the rest of my life, you know. like I have to like eventually do what I have to do in, you know, like in real life, you know. If I could do that with breaking, you know, that would be great, you know. But yeah, like, realistically, like I need to do something to make money and provide for like my future family and whatever I have to do for it, you know. But I'll still always be breaking as much as I can, you know. So.
You don't want to be 40 years old and still struggling to win first place. Yeah. Like a small check, maybe. You know? Yeah. Because it's kind of like at the end of the day, you got to face reality.
Yep.
Your age and your body catch up to you too.
Yep.
So.
Definitely. I definitely have been feeling that a lot more within the last recent years. You know, like definitely realize like that's not always just about practicing. It's like you have to also you have to step up and try to condition your body even more, you know, or like diet and do stuff like that, you know. Like I'm not the greatest with diets, but like there will be like times where I get into the mode of trying to do it, and I could actually like do it if I have to, you know. So, yeah.
All right, and you actually got a second crew called Boogie Monster Fam. You want to talk about how you joined?
So I actually met like Boogie Monsters before I joined Gravity Benders, actually.
Wow.
I used to be in like this like Vietnamese like Catholic like group thing that like they had like a worldwide thing. So they would have these like meetups like from like different areas to come and meet together. So there's this one time we're going to Michigan, I think in like 2005, and I happened to see these like two guys like breaking, and I went up to them, and it was actually Monkey and Kavetic, if you don't know who they are. At that time, Kavetic's name was like Image, that was his name. But I remember I went up to these guys, and I was like, yo, you guys break? You know, like that was when I like started to kind of understand like what breaking is. So I was like, yo, you guys B-boy? You know, and then they'd be like, yeah, we break, you know. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, yo, maybe I'll go practice. I'll get down with you guys, you know. So I would practice with them, and we became friends like a whole weekend. Like, we ended up just hanging out the whole weekend, and we were just, I don't know, we were just so cool with each other. Like, it was like we became like instantly like close through that, you know. And we used to meet up at this thing in like Carthage, Missouri. And we made this thing up called the Battle of Carthage, and we would do there would be like, it's like this big like week-long Vietnamese like Catholic like thing where they're like worshiping Mary, and like everybody's like out in like tents, and like, you know, it's crazy. It's almost like a tournament, except it was like for like religious purposes, but like people would stay there in tents for like a whole week, you know, just seeing these like this whole thing. And we at night, they always knew that the breakers were going to get down in the parking lot.
Okay.
So we used to get like huge crowds of people.
Was just the three of you guys?
No, it would be like a bunch of other breakers too. Like that was the cool thing. Like it was like a big Vietnamese gathering. So like all these B-boys came. So like we met all these people from Texas that came down. All these people from like Iowa. We met these, like that's how we met High Five and all those guys. You know. Okay. And then we had people from like the East Coast coming. Like Florida was coming out. Yeah. And like Cali was like meeting up with it. Like we were all just breaking, and we were just hanging out. We're hanging out all day with everybody, like staying off, like being like cool, like, you know, like, and everybody knew who we were. You know, it's like when we walked in, they were like, oh shit, like those are the breakers. You know, like they used to just buy us like water bottles and stuff, and like food. It was so cool. But like the crowd used to go crazy for us, you know, and we were just breaking on cardboard, and like this 3-day-old cardboard that we kept breaking, and this was like ripped up and everything, you know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like after like a while, we started to like, since we were becoming like, all those guys were becoming more like well-known names in like their scenes, we started to not go to those Carthage things anymore, and we started to just meet up at jams, you know.
Oh yeah.
So then I got close with them, and then like I think around like 2010 or 11, I remember I battled with like Monkey at like a jam, and we made it to like the finals, and we like lost. But then I remember we were like partying that night, and Monkey was like, yo man, like, he's like, don't tell anybody, but like, yo, we're like, I think we're gonna get you down. And we're like, I was like, really? I was like, dang, that's crazy, you know? And you know, like, I like in the back of my mind, I always wanted to do like, I wanted to join like some other group too. Like Motion D was always in my mind. Like I wanted to like, because they were like they were like quote unquote kind of like my mentors too. Yeah. You know, and they helped me out a lot. So like, since I was getting better, I was like, yo, like maybe I could try getting down with them, you know, and see what happens, you know. And at that time, that was probably like one of the first like shaky times that like GBC had at the time. Oh yeah. Just because like I think Yosha dropped our crew from like just because like just some like stupid like stubborn shit that happened like with like a show that we had to do, and then like me and Scribble didn't show up to like the practice, so he would get mad at us, and then he ended up like, we ended up hearing like down the grapevine he was gonna drop the crew, and then he ended up like dropping it, and then like for like 3-4 months, and then we did Breaking the Law together, and we did well. Like we lost to like this, like for like some stupid reason, but I remember we were talking about like, I remember I had the talk with Yosha, like saying like, yo, like let's try to like be serious with this, and like, you know, do some more like we're like divide. It's the whole like divided, united we're strong, you know, divided we fall type of thing. Yeah. And I gave like a speech like that to him, and I remember like that was the night when like we decided to kind of keep going with it, you know, because at that time I was like, dude, if like this isn't gonna happen, like I'm gonna do something else, and you know, but like since I kept going, like I couldn't say no to that, you know, and we kept going, and we got stronger and stronger as time went by, you know, and yeah, like I just remember they just ended up getting me down at like the Chicago jam. Like they all drove up, like a bunch of them drove to the Chicago thing from like Kansas City just to battle me in. Damn. And I got battled in like this like super tight space. It was at like a church that like, it was like a Sweet 16 qualifier or something like that, and there was like pews and everything everywhere, and then they battled me in like this like super narrow runway, like probably like as skinny as this. Wow. Maybe like a little wider, like maybe up to here. But we they did like 14 rounds or something with me.
Damn.
And like the whole challenge, like they want what BMF basically was trying to do is like they were trying to challenge me. Since I was like the big guy, they would put me in a small space.
Oh,
you see, so they were trying to see what I would. Yeah, so they were testing me to see what I could do with it. You know, so that, you know, as much as I did, you know, like I went like about 14 rounds at that time, which was like about 3 rounds each with all of them.
Yeah.
You know, and then I got down, and the rest was history from there. You know, so and then I think I'm either the 10th or the 11th member in the crew. So
how many are there right now?
I think there's like about 16 or 17.
Wow. And how many is in Gravity Bender?
Gravity Benders, like right now, I guess you could say like actively we have like about like six or 7 people.
But as a whole,
as a whole, it was probably like, if you want to add like all the members, it would probably be close to like 12 maybe. You know?
Okay.
Because the people that weren't there was like Jason, there was Paul, there was Sully, there was this dude named Leo that joined our group for a little. There's Andrew. He's like still in the crew, but he's inactive right now. And then there was like there was like Cody's like a little inactive right now. And then like out of all those people, like I would say like 6. So like total there would probably be like 12 people. You know.
Oh. Okay.
And then like we had like family members, like crew family members too. So like we had like David who was like. He wasn't like battling down, but he was like close with the crew and always supported us, so we got him down, you know. So, so he's like a friend, like a gravity friender. That's what we called them and stuff like that. So
having 2 crews, is it hard to like balance both? Like, do you guys do like, let's say BMF ever be like, oh, don't battle with them, come battle with us this year, vice versa? Like,
yeah, I guess you could say like in the beginning it was kind of stressful because like I remember when I first joined, like I got a lot of shit from GBC like of me like joining a different crew, you know. They're like, yo, where's your loyalty, you know? But like I was trying to tell them that like, you know, like dude, I've known these guys more than you, like longer than you guys, you know. And it's not like I'm joining like some random crew just to become famous or big or something. I joined them because I viewed them as like family, you know. So that's why I got down with them, you know. So that's my reason why I joined them, you know. Because I felt like at that time I was gonna either go this route or this route, you know, like either join Boogie Monsters or like maybe try to get down with like another group, you know, like Motion D or something. But then I ended up going to the Boogie Monsters route because of that, I don't know, that family feeling I got from them, you know. So so yeah, like it's like at first it was a little hard because everybody was still active, but then like now, like Boogie Monsters, like they're still like they have like single members that are like active, but not like, but everybody as like a crew hasn't been super active. Yeah. Compared to how like GBC still has, you know. So like they all understood. Like I told them right away that like, you know, like even though I'm down with Boogie Monsters, like GBC will always be my primary group, you know, and they all they can't take anything away from that, you know. Yeah. So we always end up just trying to work things out, and it usually plays itself out because it's like, hey, like we have other active members that should battle with the main squads too, you know. So since we had that, we were able to balance it all out, you know. But yeah, like there'll always be like times where they're like, oh, come on, man, don't do that shit. They'll be like, come on, man, just come hang out with us. Like I haven't seen you forever, you know. It's like, dude, I wish I could, but I got to do this, you know. And they all understand, you know, like, but that's, you know, that's just the way it is, you know. And but like I still feel very close with all of them still, you know. Like we still talk through Facebook and everything. Like we'll call each other. Like there's like some crew members that I call on like a regular like basis, or like just keep in contact with, you know, and just everything like that. So. Yeah.
So like it's kind of a good thing too, because you're like the middleman. Like I'm pretty sure since you joined both crew, you brought both crew like closer together. Like I'm pretty sure Boogie Monster ever come up here, you're like Gravity Bender is not gonna be like shady to them.
Yeah, they're not gonna be shady towards them. Like they're like everybody's like cool with everybody. You know? So like in the overall like basis of things, you know, like it's not like they're super close. Like it's not like they know everybody in the crew. But they're friendly. Like everybody's still friendly with each other. And that's what really matters, you know, like, we're all still, like, close. Like, they understand where my position is and how it is, you know, so. Yeah.
Alright, well, yeah. Shout out to Gravity Bender and Boogie Monster.
Yep, shout out to my crews. Gravity Benders and Boogie Monsters family.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, speaking of that, since you've been breaking for how long now? Like.
I guess, like, seriously, I've been breaking since, like, 2004. So I guess you could say I've been breaking for about, like, seriously, like, roughly about 14 years. Okay. But like I said, I started trying to learn around like 99 or something.
So
like
if
you added those
like
years, it could be up to 19 to 20. But I wasn't as serious at that time. So that's why I don't like considering that. But some people want to consider that, but I don't feel that way. I feel like me actually putting the time into it is what is the years that matter.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Where'd you get the name Crumbles anyway?
I was trying to make like a bunch of names for myself. Like I wanted a cool name.
Yeah.
And I made up some really whack names for myself at the time.
What are like your top three wackest names like you could think of?
Like I want since my name my real name is like Twee, right? And my last name is Tran. I wanted to be called like Tweet T or something, or I wanted to be called like Swift T.
Swift T is
like Swift Swifty or somewhere like I wanted to be like Frosty. Like with like FROZTEE, but obviously there's a Frosty Freeze out there, so I couldn't go with that name. Like I just made like a bunch of names. Like I wanted to be called Earthquake, but that name was taken already.
Oh, yeah, that would have been nice.
But I wanted to be called like FM, because it would have been short for flowing motion, and it was like a form. It was actually a name of a form that I did in Kung Fu.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that would have been kind of cool.
I think that would have stayed.
Like FM. But I remember I talked to somebody at that time, like from Chicago. I think it was like AK from Chicago Tribe. I like messaged them on like AOL Instant Messenger. Like that's how long ago it was.
Yeah.
Like and I was like, hey, what do you think about these names? I like named about like all these names, and he was like, I remember he told me, and it made so much sense. He's like, no man, that's not how you do it. He's like you gotta earn your name, man. He's like that's how people know who you are is when you earn your name. And he told me the story of his name. When he wanted to like join like Chicago Tribe, he was nobody knew who he was, but they only knew him as like the Asian kid. So when they ended up getting him down, they ended up calling him AK for the Asian kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, that's pretty cool. Like it makes sense, And that's how they earned his name, So I remember I was like, all right, that makes total sense, So I waited a couple more months. And I remember it was just like a practice like across the street from UWM. I was practicing on like the mats like at that studio place. Yeah. And I was trying like all these like moves, and my mentor was like, dude, I got the perfect name for you. And he said Crumbles. And when I heard Crumbles, it was like this light. It was like this light. It was like bing, It turned back on. Oh, how you turn this thing?
Oh, I was just messing around. Yeah, you can see talking.
Yeah, like this light bulb just hit out of nowhere, and it was like, dude, this is like the perfect name, because when I chose a name, I wanted a name that rolled right off the tongue. It was easy to say, like under like 2 syllables or something like that. It was easy to write. If I had to do a graph name, like if I had to like write it out, like if I ever had to, let's just say I had to give like an autograph or something, I would usually do like a tag or something. So like all the letters were easy to do, they weren't any like hard letters that I had to write out. Yeah. And it just, I don't know, it just spoke to me, like it just meant, I don't know, it just sounded good, and I remember I like went home, I made sure nobody had that name.
You did your research.
The closest that there was like Crumbs, obviously Bboy Crumbles with style elements.
There's like 2 different things.
Yeah, there's 2 different things, it's like Crumbs with Crumble and stuff, yeah. But I remember I just heard it and I was like, yo, this is my name. And I remember whenever I would tell people, like, yo, my name's Crumbles, like, when I first came up,
they like it, right?
Yeah, they were like, word, they're like, yo, that's a dope name. They're like, I get it.
Just looking at you?
Yeah, they're like, yo, I get it. It's a good big guy name, and I really liked it. It didn't sound cheesy, just sounded dope to me, and it was just like perfect name, it was a memorable name. That's what it was too, so that's how I got my name.
Oh, that's dope. Do you consider yourself like an OG of like Wisconsin by now?
Like, I guess you could say, like, I'm starting to reach that status because, like, all the older members of, like, the Milwaukee scene haven't been as active. They throw a jam here and then, but, like, we're kind of, like, the active guys around there, So I guess you could say we're starting to consider ourselves as, like, I guess, like, OGs of, like, Milwaukee, Okay. I guess you could say after 12 years, like, 12 years of our group.
You consider yourself?
Yeah. We would put ourselves in that position. But, our crew is still, like, even though, like, as long as, like, we've all been together, we still act like kids with each other, you know? Like, that's just how we are, we're just so youthful, like, with how we act with each other, and it's just, like, it's just cool, like, I remember, like, Pole 1 was talking about how he had some sort of conversation about, like, why can't we be called, like, B-men or something like that? And then, like, Remind and like he was talking to Remind and someone else, and they were talking about, and they were like saying like, because when you get back into breaking, what are you doing? It's like, yo, you're having fun, you know, you're doing this.
Touching your
so
youth.
Yeah, so you're touching like you're reverting back to your youthful days.
Yeah.
You know, so you're going back to your boy status. You know, so you're like being a b-boy. You know, and I was like, dang, that's dope. Yeah, like it totally makes sense.
That's like
you
a
know?
bigger meaning to b-boy.
Yeah.
It's like usually just like Bronx boy, breaking boy.
Yeah.
So like that's like a bigger meaning.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like well, two questions. What do you think about the Wisconsin b-boy scene, and what are we missing to be like a top? Like, cause right now like I say in the Midwest is like Chicago, Minnesota, they're like head neck and neck, and then we're like always behind. So what are we missing to be on top, and what do you think about our scene right now?
Like the scene right now, like I felt like has like a lot of potential. Like there's tons of b-boys out there that could be good, but it depends on how they utilize their abilities. You know?
Yeah.
Like there's tons of b-boys that I could probably like name that I thought that were like super dope, but then they stopped breaking, and it was just like, man, it's like, dude, I wish you really didn't stop breaking because you're like wasting your talents. You know? Like it's like, dude, give me some of that or something. Like dang, like give me the airplay or something if I can or something. You know, like I wish I had those like natural abilities to like do those. You know, but I wasn't that type of b-boy. You know, I was more of like a style flow type of guy.
Yeah.
So that's what I stuck with. You know, I stuck with what I was good at. You know, so but the Wisconsin scene in general, like it always it keeps like going up and down, up and down, and it's like always like revolving around like it always revolved around like a couple cities that are always there. You know, like. And then they always have like these like little groups, you know, like there's like the Madison group, the Sheboygan group, Vauxhall, Eau Claire, you know, Manitowoc, you know, and like Green Bay, you know, like, and then Milwaukee, you know, like Milwaukee is always like viewed as like the main group, like the group that's been making it, you know, making it happen, and like I think the thing is just consistency. Like that's what we're missing. It's like consistency. Like there's all these people that want to break, but none of them are like making it happen, you know. Like I'm like lately, like whenever I go to the jam, like I'll go up to like certain b-boys and I'll talk about like what's up with their lives, you know. Like I'll try to get to see what they're up to nowadays, you know. And then when I do that, I'm like, yo, are you guys still training? Are you guys practicing? Like I try to keep up with the crews, you know, just to try to make sure that like our scene is still like there, you know, in their cities, you know. And then some cities are like Green Bay, you know, like they had a group, they were called like Green City Boys. And there was like another like small group I think that were in there, and then they ended up like not like everybody started falling apart, you know. Like there was a huge group there, and then all of a sudden they started fading away. There was like a group in Appleton, they had like Self Static, like they had like 20, they had like 15 groups deep, and they were like going to every jam, and it's cool.
Making noise.
And then all of a sudden like a bunch of them stopped breaking, you know, or like they had differences in their group, you know, and then they like some of them decided to be more serious, but then like nothing came from that, like. And then like now like two guys in that group like ended up joining your crew, you know. So it's like they're trying to make moves to happen with that, you know, because their groups weren't working over here, you know. Or like like you could say it about anything, like even like Floor Dusters, for example, you know, like they were so active and they were getting up there, and then all of a sudden there was like this one period where like they stopped traveling to the jams anymore, and then like they started losing their momentum, you know. And it was just like, dang, like I wish they kept going, because then it's not just like us going out there all the time, you know, or it's like Clan 19, right? Like you guys have been like I would say like you guys have been pretty consistent, but then like there's obviously like those times where like you had like not everybody present to go to these battles, you know. Like remember there was like that period where there was only like a couple of you guys like repping, you know, and then and all of a sudden you guys started getting some other younger members, and then now you guys like built it back up, you know. But then the rest of it is all based on what you guys end up doing with it, you know. Like you guys are still traveling, which is good, because it's probably because you guys are from Milwaukee, so kind of like we're just telling you guys whenever the jams are, you know. But like it's hard for them because sometimes they don't have a ride, or like they can't fly out or something like that. But I always tell them, I say like, yo, if you could get to Milwaukee or something, just travel with us to the jam, you know. If you want to, like, if you need to, like, battle with one of us or something, if you really want to, you know, like I try to look out for the ones that I found like perspective, you know, that could actually do stuff in the scene, you know. And I always try to like leave it open for them, you know. Like even like when you guys started, like even like now we're still traveling every now and then to jams together, you know, because we're just like, yo, let's just hit up this jam, you know.
All support, you know.
Yeah, and it's like the Milwaukee scene's coming, you know, like we're trying to come out and rep at these battles, you know. So, like that's probably one of the things that they need is like consistency. they need to travel and then make more noise, like, cause it's like, dude, like, if the furthest you're going is like Minnesota or like Chicago or something, right? Yeah. Like, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah,
you know,
there's
true. Just so many groups. There's just so many other scenes that are smaller than us, and then there's huge groups that are bigger than us.
Yeah.
And to go out there and experience their scenes is like crazy, because like you're just like, dang, like this is like us, except this is them. You know, like, and it's like they have their Bboys, they have their Dizzies, you know, they have their Crumbles out there. You know, like, it's just kind of cool seeing like who they are, you know, and then meeting those guys. You know, so like those are the things that I feel like they're not taking advantage of, you know, like while you're younger, you know, is to do that while you're young. Like a lot of people, I think like the confidence level is like they don't feel like they're ready, you know.
That's true, yeah.
But if you think about it, not anybody, like nobody's ever ready for something, you know, the first time around. They just have to do it, and then like they're gonna lose. Like, dude, like when we first started going, we started losing a lot.
Yeah.
You know, but we told ourselves, we're like, dude, like it doesn't matter about like if we're losing. What matters is like, are we giving a good fight, for like a good run for their money, for them to remember us next time.
Yep.
You know. So when we did that with that attitude, that's how we started getting our name. You know.
Yeah.
So, that would be something that I feel that the Milwaukee scene, I guess like the Wisconsin scene needs more. You know, and I don't know, like they just have to take their like, if they feel that it's not happening like in like their cities, they just need to move on to like maybe like move over to Milwaukee or something and just learn from them, you know, or like just travel and do it. Like there's some B-boys from like Green Bay that come out, or like now like some of them are living here now, you know, just to train or like go to school. It's like, dude, go to school in Milwaukee, dude, you know, live out here and then go train with us, you know, and then come back whenever you need to, you know, like.
So you think like they're just missing like a bigger head then? Because I feel like for us in Milwaukee, we can lean on you guys and like a Mijo, emotional sort of, for like, let's say Green Bay, they don't have nobody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and then that's what ends up making them like fall like apart with
they have nobody to pick up,
because like their leaders aren't going to be as like
a Mijo
consistent. Yeah, they're not as consistent. So then, since they're doing that, like the people that are under them see that, and then they're like, oh, maybe I won't show up to practice today.
Yeah,
you know, like everybody else isn't showing up. Why should I show up? You know, and it's like, and then that's where the slippery slope happens. You know, and then it goes downhill from there. You know,
if you have like someone like a Mijo or like a Grabman and be like, well, we're showing up, it'll motivate everybody else to show up.
Like I would say that we're like gravity benders in general. We're very, I guess you could say we're like probably one of the more consistent crews in like the Midwest for the past 12 years that we've been here, and we've been like consistently showing up to jams throughout those years. You know, so and that's something that says something. You know, like a lot of groups like will end up dropping out. You know, because they're losing so much or something, and they're not doing it. But it's like, dude, like that's not. Like, yeah, it's great to win, but that's not the point of why you're breaking. You know, you're breaking because you want to represent yourself or your style and flow, you know, and all that type of thing, you know? So,
I don't think they got to the point where they understand that yet. I think right now
see, that's the other side of breaking that people don't know about. Like, it's just like, oh, let's just do power moves, or let's just do the stuff I see from
I think they watch too much YouTube. Yeah, there you go.
And it's like, yes, that's one thing. Like, the whole competition side, like Red Boy, yeah, that's cool and everything. But there's so much more to that than just that. You know, so
I always tell people, like, just because you enter battle does not mean you're a B-boy. You gotta hit the cipher. That's like the true essence of B-boying. Like, I always tell people, like, hit up a cipher. Like, go to a jam and not entering a battle and just cipher the whole time. Like, you'll come back feeling so much better than if you lose. Like, that's what I did for like.
Get your rounds in. You know, you test yourself. Do whatever you want to do. You know, like you can do whatever you want. So like, there's no rules. You know, like, you can be yourself. Like, if you just want to dance. And just dance, you know. If you want to just throw some power, if you want to, like, do it, you know. But it's what you make of it, you know. So it's like that's what they need to do, is get that motivation to do that, you know. Because I've seen them at like Iowa jams or like Minnesota, or like not Minnesota, like Minnesota they're more comfortable around, but like other jams, like, and then they're just like, it's like, dude, you guys are killing it in like Wisconsin, like in Madison or something. But like when you hit up like a bigger scene with like these X amount of people that are way better than you. It's like you guys are like
they freeze up.
You're starstruck. You're like, who the heck? Like, dang, this guy's crazy, you know? It's like, dude, like you gotta learn how to roll with the punches and keep going, you know? Like, who cares? Yeah, you threw an air flare, so what? Like, I'm gonna just like you didn't hit the beat. Like, I'm gonna do something else to beat you on it, you know? So, yeah.
Well, since you have like 12, 14 years in the game, you got any like funny traveling stories? Like, what is like? Okay, well, I got like 3 questions.
Okay.
Funny traveling stories, favorite city to visit, and least favorite city to visit.
Dang.
So it's like three questions.
Okay. What's a good travel story? I'm trying to think. Dang. This one's gonna be kind of hard to think of.
Well, you want to name your favorite city and then tell why, like a funny.
I would say like probably like one of my favorite cities to go to was probably. It was probably, let's think. I think like Seattle was like probably like one of my favorite things to go to, because when we went down there for Reign Supreme, like we were staying over at like Thesis's house, and we just had like this. We just experienced like all this like really cool stuff that happened there, you know, and just being around that Seattle environment was really cool. You know, like we went to like the market, like we checked out the gum wall. We went to all these like really cool spots. Like it was really hilly and everything, but like the scenery was like great. You know, and I thought it was awesome. And like that was probably one of my favorite places to go to. Probably like least favorite. Oh man, what was one of my least favorite? Like.
It was like it was a waste of time. Like, why did we come here?
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think. Oh, like one time I went to Oklahoma once, and I got like it was like my first time I ever got flown out.
Oh.
And it was like, it was so cool that I was getting flown out and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I was being super serious at trying to like, at that time I felt like people were trying to see if I was still like a legitimate judge or not.
Yeah.
And if you guys ever see me when I judge, I'm very serious and I try to stay
very
straight. Like I try to show no emotion. Like at that time I had this whole like system that I learned from like AirSick, that like AirSick learned from like Dizzy and like passed down the Boogie monsters and everything. We just applied this whole like we call it judging sheet thing that I had, and I used to go by it like all the time. Like I did this thing, like I was super serious, like, and it was cool and everything, but at the end I ended up not getting like paid. And the guy at the time, like my friend, like he was just like, hey, like I don't have the money, like this guy had to leave, and like we didn't make as much at the door, so I had to pay these guys back. And I told the guy, I was like, dude, hey, don't worry about it, just give me back in a couple months, you know, like when you get the money back. And the guy's like, he was super appreciative. But then I ended up getting screwed over on the money.
You never got it?
I never got the money. Oh. And I felt like I helped a lot with it because he didn't organize the jam as well, and he was kind of like, well, what do you want to do with it? And then I had to kind of like talk to everybody and like try to direct how the battle should be. You were
so new too, right?
Yeah, but I felt like I had to take charge of it, you know, and I was like, dude, like they should be figuring this stuff all out by now. Yeah. But I had to like do this all for them, you know, and like the jam was cool, like the people are cool, like I didn't mind that. It was just the way it was the way of how it handled at the end with me like getting screwed over. Like the guy was just giving me excuses about why he didn't have the money. He was like, yo, I've been like depressed and I went to like a clinic. I was like, dude, like I get it, like it's cool, man, but like why are you taking it out on me, man? Like I was trying to help you out with your jam, you know, and it's like there's plenty of people that screwed you over and like you're taking it out on me. And the guy, and I was just like, yo, like, and I think he owed me like $300.
Damn, okay.
And I told him, I said like, yo, like if you want, like I hit him up like a couple months later, and I was like, yo, like what's up with the money? You know, like if anything, like if you don't have the money right away, just give me like half and half.
Little by little.
Yeah, like I didn't care, like as long as he just got it to me. But the way how he handled it, he was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna do whatever I want, and like the scene doesn't appreciate me. It's like man, like it was crazy. Like that was probably like one of the my least favorite trips to happen. You know, I did meet some cool b-boys there though. You know, like I met like Soul Rivals out over there. Like I was chilling with my friend Rocco over there. He was like having a place for me to stay over there. You know, like I met like really like cool people there. You know, but the experience just kind of screwed me over with that. You know, and yeah, like there's some other good places I like to go to, like Arizona and Florida were awesome. Like I felt very homey there. Like everybody was like treating me like family out there. So like out in like Philadelphia for Silverback, like Napalm. You know, he's always like such a good guy. He always like lets us stay at his place. You know, like he, without a doubt, you know, he's just a good guy. You know, and yeah, I guess those are like my things. Funny story. I guess I could tell about this funny story about when I almost saw like this dude named Jay Park almost got the Korean Korean singer. I almost saw him get his ass whooped, and it was awesome. It was a great story, you know, because we go there, like, it's an interesting story because everybody, like, you either know who he is or you don't know who he is, you know. And at that time, he was like the host for the Korean Red Bull BC1.
Okay.
You know, like he just finished doing all that, and the next week we were going to Seattle, and I go over there. We're staying over at Thesis's, so like there was a couple crews that were over there. Like I think like Gravity was there. What do you call it? Like his crew, like the Fresh to Death, like Tucson, Descendants and stuff like that. Were there, like the Fresh Descendants were there, and we were just all hanging out, just having a good time, like meeting up with people. You know, it was cool. You know, like after the jam, there was like an after party. Everybody's just hanging out, and the thing about like Jay Park is like he was like just became famous at that time.
So like himself, huh?
So like he was at like for example, like he was at the jam in Seattle, and he had all these like fangirls at the jam, and they were like all around cheering for him. But when their crew lost, they ended up leaving. Like almost all half of the crowd left. Wow. They were all just there for Jay Park, you know?
Wow.
But I remember we were going to the after party, and we're just.
Was any of the fangirls there?
No.
Okay.
There were no fangirls. It was just like it was just like the guys staying at the house, and we were just all chilling in like Thesis' room, and like what do you call it? Jay Park just comes in, and he's like in a Leatherman jacket. His whole crew's in Leatherman jackets, like their whole like art of movement thing. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, you know. I was like, dang, these guys are so serious, you know. And Jay Park's going around saying what's up to everybody. Like he actually knew who I was, surprisingly. So I was like, oh, cool. I was like, yo, like respect, you know, like good to know you, you know. And then he went up to like Gravity, and he's like, and then this one like Gravity was at Red Bull too, and he was like he's like, yo, Gravity, you know, like dude, like respect to you, man. Like dude, like I thought you got robbed at the jam, at the thing, and then he was like, oh, you were there, and then Jay Park's like, he's like, yo, he was like, I was hosting, bruh, you know. He was like trying to be all like ghetto, so it was funny, like just hearing like this guy like talk, you know. But like Gravity didn't even know who he was. You know? So he was like, oh, I didn't know, you know, and then like he's like, wait, who are you again? And he's like, yo, man, I'm Jay Park, you know, and then, you know, so like he keeps like, you know, like they end up like just, you know, like saying what's up and everything. He goes over, talks to this guy with the girl that was like on his lap, and then all of a sudden he did something, and it sparked like this huge fight. Like this guy like threw it up. He was like, what the fuck? Like, don't be touching my girl, you know, and don't be touching my girl, and he basically went up to the girl and was like, what's up, girl? And like in front of the guy, and the guy didn't know who he was, and the guy flipped her. He got super pissed, and he was about to whoop his ass, you know. And I was like, dang. I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like Jay Park's like, yo, I ain't showing nothing but respect for you, bruh. And like he's like, yo, you want to take this outside? We can take this. I was like, oh shit. I was like, dude, it's like a movie right now, you know. And then Thesis is trying to push everybody out. He's like, yo, man, we're like family, man. Like, dude, don't be doing this in my house, man. He got super pissed. Shit. And then like Jay Park's like. And even the girl didn't even know who he was. She was bitching at Jay Park too. He's like, yo, you shouldn't touch me. Like, I'm with my man, you know. And it was crazy because like in my mind, I was like, dude, like I didn't know. Like I was just like,
it happened so fast, huh?
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I want to see Jay Park get his ass whooped. And I was like, dang, this is gonna be such a crazy story to tell everybody, you know. But they ended up like breaking it up, and then they ended up like leaving like in like with all their Leatherman jackets and stuff. It was crazy, dude. And all the B-boys are like, man, can you believe this? Like, who is this guy? You know? I was like, oh, you guys don't know who he is? And then I had to like tell them who he was. He's like, dude, I never heard of that guy before, you know? Yeah. And it's because like, dude, like it's not like B-boys or something like always listen to K-pop or something, you know? Like some do, but like not everybody does. Or it's like knows that scene like that, you know? So I just thought that was like a hilarious story to like. Yeah. Like probably like one of my favorite travel stories, like right there. So
you recently started a little B-boy movement called Waves of the B-Boys. Can you give us like a breakdown of where it originated from, the ideas, any future plans, and etc.?
It actually started on Twitter. Like I wanted to, from what I remember, I think I was trying to think of like a name that would sound pretty good for just like I just wanted to make like my own channel to kind of just see how far I could go with it. It was just really random. It was just for the love of it. And originally it was like things that B-boys do, and then I would just write something and see what they would do. So like I'll be like, oh, like B-boy time, like, I'll talk about that. But then I started to be like, man, like I'm just gonna I want to do something more like in depth, you know, like not just talk about like what B-boys are doing. Like I want to actually like know what like how they view their breaking as, you know. and I started realizing that social media, being the powerful platform it is, gives everybody their own type of opinions and things that they post up on their statuses and stuff. So I started to look up interviews, and then I started watching how people wrote on their statuses. Like they'll be talking about breaking, and I would quote them on what they had on, and I would put it on Twitter. And that's how it first started off. I ended up getting like around like 800 followers or something like that.
Nice.
And I decided that like, man, I'm not doing enough on like I want to do something more than Twitter. I want to move on to something. So I started doing stuff on Facebook, and I started doing it on Instagram, and I started using quotes, and then that they would post up on their thing, or like just videos that I would see randomly, and I would quote them. I would give credits to like all the photos that I would use from other photographers and stuff like that, and it was kind of like a win-win thing for everybody to kind of like if I like, it's not like I'm writing something and then not giving them credit for it, so I give them where they're like what they're at, like their username is, like how they can follow them, and then helps them to get their followers, and then helps me get my stuff out there, so it was like a win-win thing for everybody. And I don't think anybody was doing that at the time, so I thought that was like the cool thing about it, and I ended up changing it. It was originally Way of the B-Boy, but I changed it to Ways because it made so much more sense.
Yeah.
Because there's not one way that some breaker, like a B-Boy, B-Girl has. It's that everybody has their own way.
Yeah.
So for them to tell me about it, it's interesting, Like, I don't care if it's like a way that people view isn't like what they view it, that's what I want. I want difference, like if every B-Boy came to me and was like, yo, my way of the B-Boy is to be fresh and to be raw or something like that. It's like that's not the point. Like, yeah, that's like a part of it, but it's like what, like, let's dig deeper.
Yeah,
It's like you tell me, like, coming from the heart, like, tell me what you view your breaking at, and people end up, like, I got some of the best interviews from like some people because of that, like I just like, I think like my favorite one was the one that I did with Remind. That's the one that blew up. And like, dude, like just hearing him talk, like I just remember like when we were recording it, it was like me and Ray J recording after a jam. We were looking at each other during this interview, and then Remind's dropping like all these gems down. And he's like, yo, mind yourself. He's like not mine, like deep. He's like talking about digging deep into you and finding the jewels that are in your mind. Like I was just like,
that
damn,
shit,
yeah. And I was just like me and Ray, like we were like looking at each other, like, dude, this thing is crazy. We're like, I can't believe we're getting this footage down, and I knew it was something special, and that's when I started going with that's when I wanted to start doing more with like video work. Like I think I started first with doing one with like Ills, like out in like St. Louis. And then I moved on from there, and I thought it's pretty cool. Like I'm not trying to go, like originally I just wanted to get interviews down, but then it kind of progressed more than that. I started recording more at battles, but honestly, like I kind of don't want to keep posting up all I don't want to be that guy that just goes to a jam and just records all the footage and then puts it all up. It's like why do that when there's like other X channels, like X amount of channels that do that already, and then they probably have better quality than me. It's but it's like I'd rather do something different. Like I'm trying to think of something different and more refreshing to see than just like, oh, like, did you see that one battle on this? It's like yeah, like my footage got only like 300 views when this footage got like 10K views. It's like, dude, you guys can take those views. I'll do my own stuff, So that's like the route I've been heading in lately with it. But it was just to kind of educate and just pass down words of wisdom from B-boys, like, and B-girls worldwide, And I think it took like a positive toll on it. I feel like it's still growing, I could be doing more with it, but then I need to. But I'm also like a perfectionist at times, so I don't want to just post up anything. Like I always put into detail like what I want out of the page and make sure it's all good before I put it out, So yeah, like that's been kind of like my whole thing. That kind of like, I guess it's kind of like me progressing on from just being like a dancer in the scene to me like trying to, I don't know, like archive and like do other things for the scene besides just dancing, Like I'd rather put my other talents to use, and that's where I've been going with it. So
like you prefer being behind the scene or like being in the scene, like in the battle, like in front of the
camera? I'm always like the type of guy that likes, I love that like that type of battle, like attitude, like when you're like hitting the stage or like when you're going out and stuff. Like I love being in that type of limelight, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like there's more to it than that, you know, that I feel that I could do for it, you know. Like I'm not gonna be like that guy that's gonna be on Red Bull or something like that, you know. Like and if I can't do that, I know down like deep down inside, like that's not for me, you know. I want to do something else, you know. So I want to portray it in a different way, you know, whether it's talking about like how the B-boys felt after the jam, or like, you know, just getting more like in-depth stuff and just get to know people, you know.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've connected with like all the people that I've done like interviews with, you know, and I feel like they appreciate that as well, you know. Like I'm not just that type of, you know, that B-boy, that like breaker that like doesn't know much about the scene, but I'm just trying to put out footage, you know.
Yeah.
I'm the type of guy that's been in the scene with you guys, so they feel comfortable to talk to me about what they feel, you know. And you can see that in the footage, you know, like that gets put out, you know. Like I'm trying to get into action. I'm not trying to be that guy that's just holding it and just, you know, like this, you know. I want to get in there, you know, and do all this
in your
footage.
face, you know. Like,
like I want to get down to the down and gritty things about like what makes breaking, you know. So
Alright. You got any like what are your top 3 let's say in the B-boy culture you want to interview? Like who are your top 3?
Top three. Like I don't know. I just want to like get in the head of like just like some B-boys and just like I don't even want to like interview them, ask them questions. I just want to view like what like even like how they like approach things and just kind of get in that mindset of like what are they thinking of? You know,
who would be those top 3 then?
Like some people could be like I don't know, like I was really big into like I really like the Florida scene, like with like their flow and like finesse and like their flavor, you know. So for example, like I would love to like talk to like let's say like Kevo or like Stripes or something.
Oh yeah.
Or like even getting like a better like interview with like Omen and stuff. Just get inside their head. Like they've been in the scene for like years, you know, and they like even talking to Kevo about like him like stepping down from the limelight scene.
Yep.
And like still being like an underground legend, like still being he could probably still break with the best of them.
Yep.
But he's just not even like but he's just so chill about it, you know, like he didn't want that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like getting into like I wanted to learn why he thought of that, you know, and like doing stuff like that, you know? Like I don't know, there's just like tons of other B-boys that you could probably like name, you know, that could give like probably like great interviews, you know?
Yeah.
And hopefully in the future when I see them I want to work with them, you know? So yeah.
It'll be hard too. Like let's say if you go to Korea and you interview like somebody like a like a naughty one or like a blonde, like but the language barrier is hard. So
well, I'll probably have like an interpreter or something like that, you know, or like some of them talk English sometimes too, you know. So it's like it's cool like learning from like just experiencing stuff like that too, you know. It's like we have a language barrier, but we could talk through our movements. Like I could do something else besides just talking to them. Like I could have them just talk about their style, you know, and then demonstrate it or something like that, you know, and just things like that. So.
Oh, so speaking of, you got any like future plans for like Ways of the B-boys?
I guess like just moving on, like progressing, like more, like probably get better quality footage, you know, like just elevate myself, like evolutionize myself to become to the point where I need to, you know. Like I remember when I first started, like I didn't have like any directions. Then I started progressing. Then I started having like this direction. But now it's like what's my end goal? You know, like I'm trying to see what I really want to do with it. You know, like there's all these ideas I have in my head that I want to do with it. You know, like these like little segments and projects that I want to do. But I guess it all just depends on how much I put into it. You know, and like me actually going out there to do it. You know, so. I feel like I've been trying to do it as much as I can, but you know, obviously you gotta take care of what you gotta take care of, right? So, yeah.
Is it just like you right now, or do you have like a team?
I guess like I had like some people that were helping me throughout like the time, but then like a lot of them like can't do it anymore. Like Riven used to help me out a lot doing stuff. There's like this guy in Florida that helps me out. His name is Jabari. He like helps do like footage out from over there.
Yeah.
And yeah, like. Just like little things like that. Like sometimes I'll have like some people that go out to jams and can help me like get some footage, but overall like it was mostly like me and like a handful of like other people that just helped, you know. So it's kind of cool.
Oh, all right. Well, Crumble, I want to thank you for coming here out of a Friday. It's Friday, so I'm probably gonna upload this. It's Friday. Was it today's the 10th?
The 10th, yeah.
So I might upload this on the 13th, which is on Sunday night. So
Monday.
Is it Monday?
13th, yeah. That's actually my birthday. That's all.
Okay. Yeah,
That's the only way I know. So.
Okay, so it'll be up here on Monday then. All right. So yeah, I want to thank you for coming and take your time out for this podcast. Any plugs you want to put in?
I don't know. I guess just
social media.
Say what's up. Like I guess follow me on at Crumblezilla, or look me up on Ways of the Bboy. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that type of stuff.
Is it Crumblezilla like every, or is it different?
Yeah, Crumblezilla for most of them. I think like if you just look up Crumbles, you'll be able to find me easily. So.
Okay, and all right, that's a wrap. All right.